Notational Analysis 6.1 by Ewan Cochrane. So firstly, what is biomechanics? So biomechanics is the study of the structure and the function of the human body, or it can be other things, but in this case the human body. So why is biomechanics necessary? Biomechanics is important because it allows to identify how to prevent injuries, to develop future equipment to then able to optimize your technique, and then this will also help identify the safest method into, say for example, a 100-meter sprint. What's the safest method to get out of the blocks and still get optimal pace? And again, that links to enhancing performance. What's the best way to push off out of the blocks? Notational analysis in general then. So notational analysis is a way of recording performance, whether it be a solo performer or a team, and it can be used in many ways. So it could be used to identify the weak points within your team or the strengths of an individual. So someone may be watching a player in a football team, and you watch their passes they complete, how many they didn't complete, and then you could do this for the whole team and then see who's not that good at passing within the team as well. So it helps with the manager's selection. So notational analysis first evolved from the game of squash. So that involves two players, and they would have been recording like how long the rallies were going on, how many forehand, how many backhand, and yeah, that's where notational analysis started. So performance indicators. These are technically skills. So it is how often someone does a certain skill. Sorry, I have to get my notes up. For example, a layup in basketball, or a pass in football, or a forehand in tennis, a smash in what do you call it, volley. There's loads of different skills in different sports. So there are three different factors that can be analysed. These are technical, movement, and tactical. Firstly, looking at technical. Technical is generally a frequency or percentage, so this is usually quantitatively calculated. So this is involving numbers and percentages to help players. And then movement. So, for example, looking maybe at set pieces in football, it'd help identify players' positioning and points, and seeing where they are on the pitch at certain points of the match, so you can see how their fitness levels are coping in latter stages of the games. And lastly, tactical is the recognition of tactical patterns, for example, a counter-attack in basketball. So how effective is notational analysis? Well, personally, I think it is really useful because you can, as a player, you can see where you need to improve, and it's on paper, so there's nothing. It is how you played, if that makes sense. So players can re-watch their performance, so then they can see, oh, I've done this wrong, or I've done that right, or maybe next time I could get goal side of a player. And another positive with it is you can see the weak points in a team. So say a manager's struggling to see where things are going wrong and they keep on losing week in, week out, they can see who's not pulling their weight or not trying so hard and point them in the right direction to help them improve. It recognises a lot of criteria, so quite often in sports it's like always focused on the striker scoring all the goals, whereas it could help like defenders and everyone gets enough recognition for like the amount of tackles completed, the amount of blocks, the interceptions, the things that may always go under the radar a little bit. So again, you can give percentage. So someone may have one shot, one on target, and one goal, which is amazing. So they have 100% shot accuracy, but they've only had one shot. Whereas someone may have had 12 shots, got 6 goals, but then again, you're taking into account a larger number that they're aiming for. So the only downsides to this is it does take a lot of time. It could be time consuming. It's really difficult to keep up with the pace of the game, and it can involve a lot of time to look back and feedback. So the cost of it as well, it's not cheap. It could be really expensive to pay people to watch the games or the technology to be able to do it. And lastly, ambiguity, linking this to the percentages, what I said, quite often it misses areas. It doesn't quite give the context of what's going on in the games, for example. So, notational analysis method. So how I did it is, firstly, we created a data collection sheet of skills that were needed within basketball. So we narrowed this down to a few. It was like layups we had steals, we had defensive turnovers, for example. What other things did we have? 2-pointers, 3-pointers. And what we did is we had it as a frequency chart. So we're doing it as a tally. Every time that one was successful, we put one in the successful 3-pointer, or we put it in the unsuccessful 3-pointer. And at the end, we calculate a percentage, give feedback to the player, and then help them improve. And on the right, there is a picture of, I want to say a heat map, but it's not. It's basically positioning. So that shows where the players travel throughout the game. And as you can see, Lou travelled around the pitch quite a bit and off the pitch to receive the ball again. But this has positives and negatives. It may work with some people, it may not work with everyone because of their personalities and attitudes, I guess, to feedback. So notational analysis on basketball. So I was looking at the areas that I focused on were passing, layups, turnovers, 2-pointers, and defensive rebounds. So passing is what is needed to help us get up the pitch in basketball other than dribbling. Passing is another way in which you can create space. It is relevant for a small forward because they need to be able to create openings for their centre. So it is important because then it allows them to create chances to score more baskets. Layup is another important skill in basketball, as it is possibly the easiest way to score baskets. This because it is very hard to defend against rather than a standard shot that can get easily blocked. A layup is when you take 2 steps in the key and jump towards the basket, hitting the ball against the backboard and in. So a little tip with a layup is you aim for like the top right or the top left-hand corner of the little black box on the backboard, and generally if you hit that every time it should go in. Next one, turnover is an important skill in basketball because it is a clever way of dispossessing the opposition when they're not aware of what's going on, allowing your team to be able to counterattack. So again, this can lead to an easy layup or an easy shot. 2-pointer is an important skill in basketball because without them, your team will struggle to win games. A 2-pointer in basket is a basket scored within the 3-point circle. And this is important for the it's important for the small forward to be able to hit a lot of 2-pointers because they need to help their team in getting points to win games. Lastly, a defensive rebound is important in basketball because if the opposing team misses their shot and they don't get a second chance, then it allows you to counterattack. But if you didn't challenge the ball and win it every time, then they'd just be there the whole time, just getting baskets easily. And these are relevant for a small forward because he may be given too much space, so he can afford a long-range shot, or he may be given so much space, allowing them to get a layup and score a 2-pointer. Lastly, here are some graphs that I compared Lou to James in basketball. So the first one shows that Lou got 1 defensive rebound, whereas James did not. The second one is the 2-point shots attempt. So he got 2 successful and 2 unsuccessful. Layups attempted, again, this shows that Lou had 4 successful layups, whereas James had 2 unsuccessful. And lastly, on this slide, is the amount of turnovers completed. Why is it not showing it? Hang on. It's cut out a bit, I think. There we go. And then let me drag this down. I don't know what's gone on here. I can't change it. And then lastly, turnovers is Lou got 6 turnovers, whereas James got none. And the last graph and the table of all the results is the amount of stills that were completed. Lou completed 2 and James completed none. And then this is the data that I collected at the bottom here. So we calculate the sum, the mean, the max, the min, the range, and the standard deviation of everyone in the group. And I highlighted Lou and James. And I'll talk further about this and analyse it in 6.4. Thank you.